Alrighty, Tuesday, April 23rd, time for a session recap focusing on ES to start. Now, if you're in yesterday's session recap, what I had mentioned was we wanted to see how price was either going to be trading versus that 50-60 or 50-35 upside level of interest, and the significance of those areas pretty clear here with the near-term structure, right? We had that Friday lower high pivot, which was essential for Monday's session. See that initial rejection there on Monday. Price closes the gap, that overnight gap, and then we get the break up and through that 50-35, up and through Friday's high. Again, significant move right through there, and then a bit of selling into the close. So what we wanted to see was whether buyers were going to continue to defend that 50-35 and potentially show some continuation up above that 50-60 to retest the prior day high, and then potentially test that weekly pivot here into the 5100 area. And that's pretty much exactly what we see for today. So we have an open that is fairly close to that prior day high, right? Take a look at your regular trading hours chart here. And so essentially what buyers are attempting to do on a session like this, now keep in mind this is following what was previously 6 consecutive sessions lower, snapped by yesterday's rally. So yesterday's rally kind of shows a bit of a change in character considering what we saw all of last week. Now, again, buyers, circling back to what I was saying, buyers are looking to show some follow through of yesterday's move. And one of the easiest ways to do that is just to look at how price trades versus that prior day high. Like I always like to come into the session with just one primary reference point if I can. Can't always do that based on the setup that we're looking at, but in this case we definitely were able to just lean the basis of our analysis on that prior day high in both ES and NQ, which we'll talk about momentarily. But on ES, what we see is that push up and through the prior day high, right, that 50-76 area, and once we clear that area of resistance, again, price continues to show that change in character from this near-term, intermediate-term downtrend. And again, where's it going to go? Well, once it breaks that 50-80 level of interest, we have that 5100 upside level of interest, and then the 5120. Did not quite get there into that 5120, but pretty close, within about, looks like about 6 points, right? 5.5 points. And so what we want to see for tomorrow is how price is going to be responding versus this 5100/5090, essentially this red zone that you can see right through here on the chart. Now remember, this is the weekly pivot from back in 2022. So this is definitely a significant level. In addition to that, what we have is we have all of the volume from last week transacted here through that 5100 area. So buyers really looking to defend this area to show acceptance above that 5100. And on the flip side of that, it's kind of one of the last key areas of resistance that we need to kind of be assessing sellers' appetite for risk. Sellers are really, they don't want to see price trading up and through this 5120 with acceptance up through here. You do have a volume void right through here, which will probably fill pretty quickly if we do see some buying activity above that 5120. And then from there, where are we? Well, price is pretty much back into that prior range, right? So as far as defending the key breakdown, this 5120, the daily time frame breakdown, this 5120 is going to be important for sellers. Again, if we see some buying activity above that 5120 with acceptance, meaning that it holds above the 5120, most likely price is going to be trading back up into that prior range. If you remember from last week, one of the main levels we were looking at was the 5195, 5200 area, kind of a 5-point zone right through there. And that was the daily breakdown point. And so I suspect if we do see that acceptance up above 5120, that area can be retested at the very least. So as of right now, we don't want to jump too far ahead, but we want to be looking at how price continues to trade versus these two areas, right? If we start to see 5100 failing, 5090 failing, right, this is just going to be another lower high on the most likely the 4-hour chart or something like that. And so what we'll be looking for then is just a trade back down into some of our lower reference points down here. Now, one of these scenarios I'd outlined yesterday, which we very well may see transpire here, is the possibility for some type of range to develop through here, right? So there's another scenario to keep in mind if this 5120 does end up holding as resistance, right? Most likely what I'm going to start doing is just treating this like a new near-term range. So as far as tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, we want to see, again, 5120 going to be a key area of resistance to focus on, and then this 5100, 5090 zone. Now on NQ, let's jump over to NASDAQ. What we want to see here, NASDAQ was a little bit different coming into today's session because what we had was a series of, again, the downtrend, the series of lower highs. But yesterday, price did not manage to break the prior day high, which would be Friday's high. Whereas ES, we did see that relative strength in ES. So ES traded up and through its prior day high during yesterday's session. NQ did not. The other notable aspect here on NQ, like I've talked about before, is that on Friday's session, price actually traded down through its Thursday night low. Again, ES did not do that. So ES definitely showing signs of relative strength compared to NQ, right? What we were looking for on NQ today, very similar to what I had mentioned on ES as far as this very, very near-term structure is concerned, is we want to see either this reaction versus 17,420 or down here, 17,300. And so what we have into the close is a bit of selling, right? Price essentially just retests that prior structure. You can see the market structure right through there. Resistance now becomes support. Pretty basic concepts here. Get the retest back into that prior day high. Some sellers step in. All right, you can see some selling right through there, but it just, all that selling just gets absolutely absorbed with that move through the prior day high. Now the NQ setup, in my opinion, was superior today simply because it had more upside room to the next area of resistance, right? So ES was trading into that 5090 area, that key area of resistance. I had mentioned this morning that the location, if this actually did break the 5080, the location would be kind of challenging because price is trading up into a higher time frame resistance point. So personally was focused on NQ today, again, simply because it had so much more upside potential. And what we see looking at just the intraday chart, this white line is your prior day high. So you have the initial rally versus that 17,420, bit of an opening drive type of trade there, pullback, fight for price right through here. You can see that fight for price, sellers trying to defend the prior day high, buyers off of this higher low obviously want to see price resolving higher. It does resolve higher, and then just a beautiful market structure that sets up a series of higher lows all throughout the morning into early afternoon, and then just kind of drift, call this drift, not really tradable action through here, but early morning, early afternoon, we do have some really solid action in NQ using the posted levels of interest. Question is, where are we now? Well, price has essentially shown that near-term change in character. Again, we're just looking at nearby pivots. One of the most recent lower highs in this case is right through here. That's 17,525. We have price up and through that area now, trading into 17,625, right? And so what I want to see, this is not the best location, in my opinion. Personally, I like to see some stronger structure associated with any type of trades that I'm going to be taking, especially when we're looking into end of day action, things like that. I like to see, some action maybe versus this area up through here or even higher. Don't really have that. And so what I'll be looking at is, if this actually does roll over, what I'll be looking at is how price trades versus this 17,525 area. More of a near term, more of a reference point, just looking at this structure right through here. We want to see if buyers are going to be stepping in and kind of curl up, trade back into today's high. So just taking it day by day here, the structure, again, within the near term, anytime we're looking at kind of a counter trend, this is a downtrend, obviously. And so if we're looking at yesterday, if you're looking at longs today, if you're looking at longs, within this structure, this downtrend structure, you have to be paying attention to every single lower high, right? So we call this like essentially buyers not out of the woods by any means. We do have a couple of days of buying activity, but within the context of the selling that we saw last week, this is just like essentially a blip, right? Just a blip higher. And so again, continuing to focus on how the structure builds out on those higher time frame charts. That'd be the 30-minute, the 60-minute, even the 4-hour and the daily, if you like those time frames. But more importantly, looking to see, all right, how is price trading versus most recent areas of resistance. And for that, again, you can just look at where has price shown a lower high before rolling over and then making fresh lows, right? So NQ, see how it shakes out for tomorrow morning, but ideally going to be looking at either 17,525 or 17,625. ES setup is actually a little bit better now with price holding above that 5,100 area. Right through here, right? This is kind of that structure that I was talking about. We like to see this type of action. Makes for much stronger pivots, and anytime we have a stronger level, you can have more conviction in that directional move. So hope that is clear. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM in the Traders Think Tank. As of right now, just continuing to take it day by day, looking at how this structure continues to unfold. Hope everyone had a good day today, profitable day. I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a great afternoon.